Do you think Donald Trump's literally Hitler, or you don't buy into that propaganda?
I think his propaganda. I think it's pretty charged language he uses. So I'll just say that.
Okay, so you don't like his language. You wouldn't say that he's Hitler, but you think he uses charged language.
Well, he's not Hitler yet.
Yet. Okay. He could be.
Yeah, I think it's possible if he wins. If he doesn't win,
You think he's gonna? You think he would gather, millions of people and exterminate them? What do you think?
well, he did say he was going to go house to house with illegal immigrants, and he was going to go house to house to get them. So he did say that.
Well, ICE does that anyways, right? We deport people all the time.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
You don't believe in deporting illegal immigrants?
The people he's complaining about are legal and they are working here. They're not all criminals. I mean, come on, it's charged language that he uses. That everyone who's coming over the border is criminal, which is not true.
Well, what legal immigrants were deported the first time he was president? I've never heard of that. I mean, there's not really legal grounds to do that. I mean, if they have citizenship, you can't deport citizens.
But he's,
That's a good question, Vince.
It is a good question.
What do you think?
Can you ask it again?
Yeah. So, what legal immigrants was he deporting during his first term? Because we had 4 years where we saw him as president, and first of all, there's no legal grounds to deport a legal immigrant who's a citizen. You can
I agree with that. So
revoke a
why
green
does
card,
he keep talking about them?
But
he's going to get rid of them.
He doesn't talk about deporting legal immigrants. He talks about deporting illegal immigrants, right?
Well, he's also saying that the Ohio immigrants that are legal are illegal. Eating pets and stuff.
They're not.
Is ridiculous.
They're not particularly legal immigrants. I mean, it's kind of semantic, but they are migrants who were given temporary protective status,
because they
which
needed
is
more
essentially
people to work in that area. So he was doing. I mean, whatever governor is doing good.
That's part of the CNVH program. So they bring in 30,000 people per month. There's also a CBP1 program that brings in another 30,000 people per month. So they kind of bypass the process to come into the country.
Yeah,
like you said, it's kind of semantics.
More workers to do the work that a lot of people don't want to do.
Do you support uplifting and revitalizing American communities for Americans over importing foreign labor? What do you think?
This has always been a country that accepts refugees. My dad was a refugee from World War II, and he came to this country and he loved this country. I don't know what he would think about it now, to be honest. But it was always open to people, the melting pot, kind of thing. And I don't think we hear about that anymore.
Right. Well,
open by structured and legal process.
Right.
I mean, you can't just have people pouring over the southern border.
But he's making blanket statements about everyone who was not born in the United States.
He's not. He says illegal people are here illegally.
Yeah, but
especially priority with those who commit crimes in this
country. Does he even know who's
country.
legal and who's not? He's not president right now, but he's just making blanket statements.
But that's when he's president, that's a policy he plans on implementing.
What's the policy he plans on implementing?
Deporting illegal immigrants. I mean,
all right. I hope he doesn't become president personally.
Yeah.
What did you think when Barack Obama deported? Actually, what did you think when Barack Obama deported actually more illegals in his term?
I know that.
than Donald Trump?
Yeah. We're not talking about Obama right now.
When it comes down to it, do you see it as more? It's the compassionate position to allow illegal immigrants into the country, unvetted.
I mean this is a very complex. Unvetted.
Yeah, at the border, they're unvetted.
How do they vet them?
They
I wish.
can't.
What do you mean they can't vet them?
They're not vetting them right now. So over the last 3.5 years, you get detained by CBP. Right, Customs and Border Protection.
Yeah.
And then you get brought into the country.
Well, if you already have family in the country, there's a lot of those. Are they still legal or illegal?
Those. If you're coming into the country illegally, crossing our southern border illegally, you're an illegal immigrant.
But I know some of the people coming across the border have family, and so they're going to join them.
Yeah.
We never hear the nuances of
process.
that.
We have a legal process that you go through.
But we don't hear about the nuance. It's only black and white, and I think it's a lot more nuanced than.
Let me ask you a question. So,
I have a question about that, but I was going to ask. I mean, do you think that's the compassionate position, though? Over the last 3.5 years, there's been minimum 10 million illegals that have come into the country unvetted under this administration. Do you think that's a compassionate position? Should we just be opening up the border for people?
Well, we have at various times in the United States history.
No, it's the worst border crisis in American history, and it's not even close.
That's because there's more wars going on in South America.
Even during like
Which
World
wars
War One
going
and
on
Two.
in South
There's
America?
well, it was. I mean, you're right. The El Salvadorian War, which Nicaragua. I mean, there's been a history of that wars. Also, there's more opportunity in the United States. There always has been more opportunity. And again, there's jobs that some people don't want to take, and they want those jobs. I mean, they always have. It's for decades.
What kind of jobs do they go for? You think like low wage, right?
Yeah, like low wage restaurant. The stereotypical ones.
Who do you think that
Construction.
disproportionately affects in the country? Low wage earners. Who does that disproportionately affect, if you were to guess?
Well, how many? Well,
If you were to guess.
sorry, there was something else that popped into my head.
Brown and black communities in the United States get disproportionately affected by illegal immigrants flooding the country, working low wage work. Drives down wages.
I don't know if that's totally true, and because they're saying there has been documentation about we need more construction, we need more housing, and usually Hispanics, let's just say brown people, will do those construction work
For
Will
low
do
wage.
that. Well, they
What
might
about
get
giving
paid a little
Americans?
more.
What about giving Americans that
Hey,
opportunity
if Americans wanted to do, we wouldn't have to. There wouldn't be anyone coming over. There's always been jobs here for non-Americans to come. There's always been jobs.
What about the communities that are struggling right now in the U.S.? We have communities in Chicago that are struggling. Obviously, I'm sure you see it on the news, and the community leaders are coming to city hall meetings saying, "You guys are reallocating funds from our community, our struggling community, and giving tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, to illegal immigrants." They're protesting right now.
I don't agree. I don't think that's true. If they're illegal here, then they will get sent back. If they're here because they went through the legal and they have, what do you mean they don't? They're not.
They get housing, health care. Some places they get
because
debit
they're
cards.
working.
They get food.
They're working.
That's
there
not
are
true.
clearly some white Americans that don't want to do that job, that can't do those jobs, that are too old to do those jobs, those jobs are very, very hard. And I think there's a lot of
they're getting-
white guys that don't want to do those jobs.
They're getting billions of dollars across the United States, billions of dollars per year of taxpayer money. Should we not be prioritizing Americans and uplifting Americans first?
What are you talking
All
about?
the benefits that they
They're
get,
getting,
health care, they
welfare?
get housing, they get
Because
welfare
they're
in some
working.
states.
No, they're not getting welfare. They're working.
In some states, they're able to get benefits, yeah. And in fact, when we were talking about
Well,
the
we have a lot
CNVH
of
program,
people that
they
are
actually get
already-
federal grants, so they're getting money as well. So if we were to compare this to like the
They're up in
1920s,
5-star hotels in New York City.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, because they're doing
Paid for
friggin'
by the
work.
government? No, they're not doing work. Are
What,
they
they're
paying
just,
for the
what
hotel
do they do?
themselves?
They're just because they need people to do the dirty jobs in New York.
Let me
they're
tell
the
you, they're not
only
paying for those hotels themselves.
Well, you know
It's the
what? I would
taxpayer
like to
who's
go. I'm going to
subsidizing
New
it.
York in a couple weeks. I would like to go and see what
I
are
was
you
just there.
talking about?
I was just there. It's a big problem for a lot of people in the community.
No, okay. So are there
Even the
pictures
Democrat
of these?
mayor
So
said it was
are
an
there
issue
people
there.
loitering in these hotels? Are they just loitering there, taking free money from America?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
That's
that
right.
is
I don't
actually, that
believe
is
you.
indeed
I have
what
to
is
go
happening,
fact
yes.
check you. I'm
Go
going to
ahead,
fact
go
check
ahead. You're
you.
free to do
I
so.
do not believe
They're
that.
costing a minimum of $150 billion per year
What
of
group are you guys
taxpayer
from?
dollars.
What group is this?
This
I
is
want
We
to
don't
know.
have-
I've
we have
agreed to
YouTube
this.
we have YouTube channels.
just
What
have a
what
YouTube
is
channel.
what is the name of your YouTube channel?
You can check it out. Mine's James Klug, Klug, and then his is
Okay.
Vince Dow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What,
so we're just looking after
is
Americans, trying to uplift communities,
I'm
and
looking
we
out
don't
for-
want to
I
be
love
we don't want
America.
to be stealing taxpayer dollars and giving
Look,
them to foreigners
I'm a
that came to the country illegally.
I'm a child of immigrants, so
Me too.
it's a very sensitive subject because they're inflating illegals. I just.
What do you mean inflating illegals? What do you mean by that?
Inflating because it's like Donald Trump inflates stuff. He goes, "There's billions of immigrants here that shouldn't be
He-
here."
he
He uses
says
hyperbole.
illegal.
He uses hyperbole. I don't know if he said billions before though.
He's
for
always over exaggerating. I want to know the real people, like my parents that got over here, and because my dad was coming out of a war, so he got in because they were letting
Let me-
refugees
Yeah,
in.
it was much
Let me tell
different.
you
He
that
wasn't
I'm-
getting free housing, free healthcare, free food, debit cards paid for by
I don't know
taxpayers.
the details of that.
I'm
that you're talking
Vietnamese,
about.
and my family's very personally offended by the fact that we did the legal process. Parts of my family had to wait almost 10 years, and now people are just coming across the border and being allowed to stay. I mean,
Like,
that was never.
I think it's a more nuanced discussion, and
What do you disagree with? What he's saying right there?
I am not an expert at this.
That's okay.
But I watch a lot of news. I pay attention.
What news are you watching, if you don't mind me asking?
I try to get the whole gamut. PBS NewsHour is really the most balanced news report, so I do listen to that. I watch that. I watch CNN. I watch some Fox. MSNBC. I mean, But again, there's so much hyperbole going on. The language right now is very heated.
The numbers from Customs and Border Protection, including gotaways, you're looking at comfortably 10 million illegal immigrants.
Illegal immigrants. You're only,
I'm not
discussing.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
Well, I don't really want to talk about the subject anymore. I'm not an expert at it.
It's okay.
I'm not an expert.
I mean, were you aware that many people came across the southern border illegally over the last 3.5 years? Over 10 million?
I don't know which are illegal, which aren't illegal. There's not any clarification.
Those numbers are from Customs and Border Protection.
Okay, then I will go look that up. I'm just taking your word for it.
Of course, ma'am. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. You are just taking my word for it. But let's assume that I'm correct there. Is that a bad thing?
What would be about? Because they're coming here and they're taking welfare. Is that what you're saying?
Not just resources from American communities. There's
What
crime.
resources
There's
are you
all sorts.
talking? There's not crime. They're
not
the
crime.
least likely to cause crime.
75%, according to NYPD, 75% of crimes in Midtown Manhattan right now are illegal immigrants.
I don't believe that.
You can look it up.
That.
That's from
I'm the
that's
least
from New York Police
afraid.
Department.
I walk a lot on my own in different cities, and I'm definitely more scared of. I'm not scared of black or brown people for committing a crime against me. I'm scared about everyone else.
Right.
So I do not like that language that they're all criminals. I do not like that.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I just said they're disproportionately
crime.
represented in certain places in the country.
What kind of crime are you talking about?
We're talking about robberies. Robberies are a very common thing in New York.
I do not believe you. I will have to go look that up
Yeah,
because
it's okay.
I think there's a lot
I never
of
said all of them.
over-exaggerated. We need to calm down the language, and this is not helping.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are being killed by illegal immigrants, and so it's been a
I-
that are being let into the
maybe
country
there's-
illegally
I-
under this
look,
administration.
I know,
care
I
about
have heard
those
that.
Americans.
I know. What else?
Do you?
I mean, I don't want to have this discussion anymore.
Do you care about those Americans
The people that have died because someone has murdered them? Yes.
that are in the country illegally let in under this administration, letting them just roam
You know
across
what?
the
Every
border?
administration they came in during Trump too.
Record
Because
highs under
Obama
this one,
came,
though.
everybody.
Not even close to the same numbers.
Record
About
highs under this
7
one.
to 8 times
because
as much.
There's more people coming here. Because there's
Under
more
this administration.
construction.
Under
There-
this administration.
Look, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I think we've got to keep the language not so heated and not to demonize
what I'm saying is correct.
the other. Not to
We also
demonize
need to
the
tell the
other
truth,
is
though.
very, very scary and wrong.
But the truth is very important.
No, the truth is demonizing other people is causing more anguish.
I'm not demonizing them. I'm telling
Yes,
you the
are.
facts.
You're saying they're
I'm-
all criminals.
That's not what I
what
said. You've said that repeatedly, and I've said repeatedly, no, I'm not saying that, and Trump didn't say that
Why
either.
do you bring that up?
You brought up all criminals.
No. Why are you talking about maybe the few times there were murders?
No, it's constant under this
Oh my
administration.
God. I can't talk to you anymore.
okay.
That is so not true. That is so not true.
Please look it up. It's
I'm going to,
the
because
numbers
I
are
do
staggering.
care about this country, and this needs to stop. This language
You're good.
that is very demonizing of the other. That is
I'm
wrong.
simply just telling you the facts here.
Well, I'm telling you.
I'm
the
not trying to be.
facts.
I'm not trying to be
It is-
rude or offensive. I'm simply telling you.
cannot demonize
Give me the
other
facts.
people. The facts are, in this country, it's a very prejudiced country that is always against the other.
I'm
in some
with a minority
ways.
right now, and I have no problem with it. It's not about people's skin color.
It's about
One
telling the truth.
person-
It's about telling the truth.
Well, I'm telling the truth. Is that stop demonizing the other? That's all I'm saying.
That's an opinion, but thank you.
That is true.
Thank you, ma'am.